morning, my class before lunch was chorus. I love to sing, but I was distracted by a twitching muscle in my left thigh. As I sang, a section of my blue skirt popped up and down as if jumping beans lived inside my leg. The bell rang. When I started toward my locker, my legs buckled as if I had nothing but cotton inside my skin. I collapsed, scattering my books all over the floor. Dr. Wright came, took my temperature. I need to do a spinal tap on her. He told my parents, "Can you take her to the hospital right away?" At the hospital, I lay on my side. When Dr. Wright got the results, he asked my parents to go into another room. He told them my diagnosis, and they returned alone to tell me. "Baby," Dad said as he stroked my hair back from my forehead, you have polio. You need to go to a special hospital for polio patients in Minneapolis." I began to cry. How could I have polio? I didn't want to have polio. I didn't want to leave my family and go to some hospital 100 miles away from home. Exhausted, feverish, and scared, I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I was paralyzed. Before a polio vaccine was developed, polio killed or crippled thousands of people each year. The polio virus attacks the nerve cells which control the muscle movements, often causing paralysis and sometimes death. In the story, Small Steps, the year I got polio by Peg Carrot, there was only one case diagnosed that year in Austin, Minnesota, a 12-year-old girl named Peg. As I opened my eyes, I tried to move my arm. Nothing. "Why can't I move?" "You got polio," the nurse said as if that explained everything. "I'll tell your parents about the paralysis." She left me alone in my terror. Don't think about being paralyzed, but the doctor's words played over and over in my mind. The patient is paralyzed from neck down. The patient is paralyzed from neck down. The patient may need a respirator. I roused myself enough to ask, "What's happening?" "We're afraid your lungs may not continue to function on their own." This was bad news. I could not sit up. I could not move my arms or my legs, and it was so hard to breathe, and I was burning with fever and far more frightened than I had ever been in my entire life. I not only had polio, I had two kinds of polio, spinal and respiratory. I shut my eyes and I pretended I was dead. When I woke up, I was in a different hospital bed. "There's a call button next to your hand," the doctor said. I tried to push the button, but my fingers remained where they were. Well, if you can't swallow and start to choke, just yell for a nurse." If I was choking, how could I yell for a nurse? Days and nights blurred together. "We're going to put you in an oxygen tent," the doctor said. "We hope the oxygen will keep you breathing on your own. If not, a respirator will help you." I looked at where he pointed, and a wave of horror poured over me as I realized a respirator was another term for what was properly called an iron lung. I thought it was like being put in a coffin while you were still alive. Once, in the middle of the night, I woke aching all over. "Nurse!" I yelled. She rushed into my room. "Don't you call me unless you can't breathe." 8 days after my polio was diagnosed, my fever stayed steady at 102 degrees. "We can't go on like this. You need more nourishment," Mother worried. "You could have anything you wanted to eat or drink." "What would it be?" "A chocolate milkshake." "We can't let her have a chocolate milkshake," the nurse replied. "We'll be back soon." She and Dad went out, and they returned in less than an hour. Dad took the lid off the container while Mother unwrapped a paper straw. I sucked the cold, thick shake into my mouth, held it there for a second, and swallowed. It slipped smoothly down my throat. For the first time since I got sick, something tasted good. Within an hour, my temperature dropped. That chocolate milkshake just saved my life. Within days, I could swallow naturally, and the deep, aching pain went away, and it was getting easier to breathe, too. The doctors decided to take me out of the oxygen tent. I could breathe without an oxygen tent. "You are doing great," Dr. Viva said. "Let's try it on your own. We'll keep the oxygen tent here just in case you need it." But I won't need it. I had my first physical therapy session. A physical therapist turned me on my back. She grasped my right ankle with one hand, put her other leg on my right knee to keep my leg straight, and raised it until it was straight up from my stomach. "Stop!" I cried. "It hurts!" I begged the therapist to stop, but she only held my leg firmly upright. "I'm only trying to help you get well," she said. My mouth was my only weapon of defense, and I used it, shrieking and crying. "Stop that. You ought to be ashamed of yourself making such a scene. You're acting like a baby," she snapped. "Thank you for torturing me," I told her. On October 1st, I lay in bed with my eyes closed. My leg itched, and without thinking, I reached down and scratched that itch. Then as I realized what I had done, my eyes flew open. I don't really just use my hand. I can use my hand! You're one lucky girl, Dr. Beavis smiled. I burst into tears. I got a wheelchair and was allowed to set up for 1 hour at a time. I called my wheelchair my Iron Horse, and I named her Silver. Hey, you got a visitor. Dr. Beavis. Why, I came to see how my favorite patient was doing. You were very brave. You're going to walk for me. My walking sticks came in. I could hardly wait to try them on. Go slowly, Miss Ballard, my physical therapist said. Take small steps, slow and easy. I was confident I could stride forward on my own. I was Supergirl, ready to conquer the world. On your mark, I said. Go slowly, Miss Ballard repeated. Get set, easy, slow, and easy. Go! I lurched forward, unsteady and awkward. Small steps, don't you try to run, she cried. That day, I took 10 steps, each one slow and deliberate. One memorable morning in late January, Miss Ballard said, today, you're going to walk a few steps without your sticks. My heart beat fast. Peg, she said, her voice hushed. You're going to walk. Carefully, I raised one foot and set it down a few inches in front of me. Heel, toe, 6 steps later, my hands grasped hers and we celebrated our mutual victory with a hug. How would you like to go home? I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. All we have to do is notify your parents and they can come and get you. Home. I was going home. Mother arrived at 10 the next morning. I told Mother I promised Dr. Beavis I'd come back to walk for him. We're on our way home, Mother told Dr. Beavis. Peg was discharged today. I have something to show you, I said, handing my walking sticks to my mother. Then, smiling triumphantly at Dr. Beavis, I walked across that hospital floor. Head up, shoulders back, heel, toe, small steps.